Welcome to Ashlee Marie. Today we're making French macarons. I have a ton of tips and tricks for you to make the perfect cookie. Let's get started. Macarons aren't as hard as you think. It all comes down to a couple of tips and tricks. First tip, weigh everything. Now, if you don't have a good kitchen scale, I have put on measurements, but it's amazing how much difference it makes to weigh out your powdered sugar versus use 2 cups. Because if you compact the 2 cups, or if the 2 cups are super light, they're gonna weigh different things. So if you have a scale, weigh all the ingredients. Next tip, your egg whites. For some reason, this works best if your egg whites are older. So anytime I use a recipe like my lemon sour cream pie that uses like 3 yolks, I'll take these 3 egg whites, I'll put them in a Tupperware, put a lid on them, I'll leave them on the counter or like in a shelf so my kids don't get to them for 3 days, and then that's when I make macarons. When it calls for dried egg whites, this brand is called Just White. That's what you want to make sure to get. You don't want to use meringue powder. Next tip is to use a grease-free bowl. Now for egg whites, the very best bowl you can use is copper. I don't have a copper bowl yet, but I'm using a metal bowl. Let's get started. Here are my 3-day-old room temperature egg whites. And here I have some cream of tartar. Cream of tartar is the one thing you can actually leave out of this recipe if you don't have it, but cream of tartar actually helps your egg whites as they foam up and hold their shape. So I personally wouldn't do it without it, but again, I always have cream of tartar around for snickerdoodles. We're gonna take these egg whites till they're foamy, nice fine bubbles, but not like, not smooth yet. All right, you can see we're getting nice and foamy now. So I have my granulated sugar and I have my dried egg whites. And as you can see, the dried egg whites are kind of clumpy. So that's one of the reasons that we're mixing it. This granulated sugar will kind of help break those up. So we're gonna keep beating our liquid egg whites and we're gonna add our sugar and powdered dried egg whites to the mixture slowly while we're beating it. And then we're gonna bring it to like just over soft peaks, but just before stiff peaks. So it's gonna be glossy and smooth and beautiful. And there you have it. They're nice and soft, not quite stiff yet, but they will be in just a couple seconds. So we're gonna stop now. We have powdered sugar and ground almond flour. This stuff is nice and fine and powdery, and we're gonna mix these two together. Another tip for these is you can add whatever color you want to them, but you want to do it before you add the powdered sugar almond mixture, because once you add that, you don't want to over mix them. Now we're going to take our almond flour and our powdered sugar mixture and put 1/3 of it into our egg whites, and we're going to fold this in. No more beating with a hand mixer. Add another 1/3. And add the final 1/3. This is the right texture. It's nice and thick. We don't want to overmix this, so I'm going to leave it like that. So I have a piping bag with, I think this is a 1A tip on it, and then I've printed off these templates that have the right circles. So notice they have 2 circles. The inside circle is where we're going to pipe to, and then it's going to spread to that larger circle. And take some parchment paper and place it over the top. Now, I didn't color mine, and the reason for that is I'm actually trying to create peppermint looking ones for the holidays, for Christmas. And so I'm taking my bag and I'm taking some red airbrush dye, because it's liquidy and thin, because I don't want it to be super strong. And I'm just gonna paint right inside my bag with a little bit of this color. I'm gonna do it 3 different thin stripes. So you start with a tip about 1 centimeter big. You wanna hold it about 1/4 inch above the paper, and you just wanna squeeze and fill in until it fills in that small circle. Then stop squeezing and circle off the top, and that's gonna make it so it doesn't just leave a little point there. So squeeze, stop, circle off. The next thing you do is shake these. You want to get any bubbles that are in there to come to the surface. We're going to let these sit for 60 minutes. That helps them spread Something about resting just is gonna help get them better feet, and it's also gonna help any of the little air bubbles come to the top and pop and smooth, so that when we cook them, you get that beautiful smooth top. Now, the real flavoring of macaroons comes in the fillings. Now, I personally prefer to use ganaches. I feel like that truffly center is just perfect for this. I love a dark chocolate ganache. This, I'm actually going to be making a white chocolate ganache. So I have my chocolate all ready. I have my cream simmering away. I'm about to add my cream to my white chocolate, but before I do that, I want to add some flavoring. Now, I want these cookies to be peppermint flavored. So I'm adding some peppermint oil. If you have a full container, using something like a toothpick or a chopstick can help just get a couple little drops out, and then you don't have too much. Once you add your flavoring, stir it in. You don't want to add the flavoring at the very beginning because it will cook out, and it's not good to heat flavorings too much. So I just add them right at the end. And now I'm just going to pour this right over my chocolate. We're going to kind of shake that down so that that chocolate settles into the cream, and let it sit for 5 minutes. That way that warm cream kind of permeates the chocolate. If you stir it too soon, you're going to have a ton of chunks. It's going to cool down as you stir, and you're never going to get those melted. If you wait too long, kind of the same thing, it starts to cool and you kind of missed your opportunity. So 5 minutes seems to be about perfect for me. Now, sometimes even if you do everything perfectly, your chocolate still doesn't melt the way you want it to when you're making ganache. In fact, with white chocolate, for me, it happens almost all the time. So the good news is there is a trick to fix that. We're making a ghetto double broiler. We're taking the pan that we have our cream and ganache, and look at that steam, and we're putting it over boiling water. And then that steam helps warm the bowl, helps warm the cream, helps warm the chocolate, and helps it all melt smoothly. The only negative to this way is that it does heat up the entire thing a little bit warmer, so that means it takes a little bit longer to cool down for piping onto the cookies. But at the end of the day, it's a really easy way to go. It's smooth, it's gorgeous. I'm gonna put it aside and let it cool down. All right, our macaroons have baked. They are beautiful, as you can see from this side, and they have gorgeous feet, just like they should. Smooth tops, little, I don't know why they call these feet, but that little crinkly part on the edge, they call them feet, and they're perfectly even. They're great. So they've cooled, and now we're gonna put them together. So the macarons themselves don't really have a lot of flavor, but the filling does. Remember, it's white chocolate peppermint. But I want to make the peppermint flavor even stronger. One of the things that you can do, and this is another macaroon tip, is to take some kind of flavored syrup. Again, I'm going with peppermint. And we're going to take this syrup, and I'm going to brush it on the back side of all these cookies before I pipe the ganache on. And that's going to soak in to the shell and create a stronger flavor, and it's gonna be awesome. And now it's time for the filling. Take your piping bag and your cookie and hold them perpendicular to each other, starting on one side and going around in a circle. Make sure you get that cookie filled, although it's not quite all the way to the edges, and the reason for that is we're gonna take another shell now and kind of twist and squeeze them together, and that's gonna make that ganache squeeze out and fill in all of that space. And they're done, they're beautiful, they look great, they smell good. And it's time for my very last tip for the perfect macaroon. Now, don't hate me for saying this, but don't eat them right away. What you wanna do is put them on a plate, cover them with plastic wrap, and put them in the fridge for 3 days. Yes, 3 days. I promise they're not gonna go dry, they're not gonna go bad. Well, they are gonna go dry, but in all the right ways. 3 days is the time that it's gonna take for that filling and the shell to emulsify together. The shell's gonna get that wonderful hollowness. The filling, the ganache, is gonna interact with the cookie in a great way. Do an experiment. Take the macaroons you just made, eat one today, and put them in the fridge. Eat one tomorrow, eat one the next day, and then on day 3, tell me what you think. It is time to give these a try. It's got a great crunch on the outside. The peppermint is really coming through. Go make a batch. Let me know what you think. Don't forget, in the description down below, click show more. and you can get a printable recipe, links to my other macaroon recipes as well. You know, everybody is in like a macaroon camp. Either they're like, I hate macaroons, like I used to be, and they just haven't had a good one, we can win them over, or they're in the, I love macaroons. So if you love macaroons, tell me why you love them. Give me a thumbs up if you love macaroons, and leave me a comment if there's anything else you want to see me make. Thanks for watching.